run. There was no doubt in the fact that Doug Flutie had great athletic ability. The thing that he's done to this ball club is everybody else is elevated to another level.
In the offseason, many thought that Doug Flutie would be reunited with his brother Darren here in Toronto. That didn't happen, but he'll see Darren tonight as a member of the Edmonton Eskimos.
Darren Flutie's having a great year so far. Great inside receiver, super speed, and he is a big target for the next guy we're going to speak about, Danny McManus.
Yeah, both of those guys came from the BC Lions. They hooked up 2 years ago to win the Grey Cup. Danny McManus off to a tough start, throwing a lot of interceptions.
He has thrown up a lot of interceptions, and he had some people around him that just aren't performing well. He's getting some people back healthy. Tonight should be a great test for the Edmonton offense.
And Danny McManus will go on the offense first as Edmonton has won the toss, and they will receive. In the white uniforms, the Edmonton Eskimos with a record of 4-2, second place in the Western Division. Jerry Collins, Eric Blunt will be back deep. Mike Vanderjagt will put the ball into play. The Argonauts, as we mentioned, off to a 5-1 start. The Calgary Stampeders are also 5-1 in the West. Toronto, the top team in the East.
Mike Edmonton's coming off 2 victories against Ottawa. Not a real challenge for them. They've had it easy for 2 weeks. As I said in the opening, this will be a pure test for Danny McManus and the Edmonton offense tonight.
Short kick taken at the 27-yard line by Blunt, and he has hit at the 38. Good hit applied by Toronto. It was Ken Benson, number 37. The Edmonton offense led by Danny McManus, Blunt, and Flutie. The 2 guys we highlight, of course, Darren Flutie broke his brother Doug's heart a couple of years ago in the Western Conference Finals when he caught that last-second touchdown pass to propel BC over Calgary and into the Grey Cup. And there is Danny McManus, the former Florida State quarterback. McManus and the Argonauts will start from their own 40-yard line. The pitch goes back to Blunt. He comes left side, and he's pushed out of bounds at the 41. Defensive setup for the Toronto Argonauts, who have played fairly good defense, but of course Doug Flutie always helps that. They do have some new guys in a revamped backfield, including number 12, Adrian Smith, and number 26, Courtney Griffin. Tim Cofield, 5 sacks on the air. He led the CFL with 24 sacks 1 season ago. 2nd and 8 from the 42. McManus dishes it off to Collins. Hit short of the first down. Alex Gordon, number 96, making the stop for the Argonauts.
Danny McManus and that offense of Edmonton showing you right now, they are very leery, and they are aware of the pressure that the Toronto defense can put up on them up front. And he goes with the screen pass, but nothing doing. This team, as far as Toronto is concerned, both offensively and defensively, has the best team speed, I think, in the whole league to date.
Glenn Harper will punt. And the always dangerous Jimmy Cunningham back deep for the Argonauts, set up on his own 17-yard line. Harper brings it to the near side of the football field, taken at the 18 by Jimmy Cunningham. And he has hit at the 25, a return of 7 yards on the play, hit by Trent Brown. And Flutie in the offense will start at the 25. Robert Drummond has been as good a story as there is so far in the CFL. Tied for number 1 in scoring, number 1 in yards from scrimmage, number 2 in all-purpose yards, number 4 rusher in the CFL. And there are some changes being made on the offensive line of Toronto.
Up in the front, they had a very bad injury last week to Pierre Berchevald, their starting left guard. And now that brings in Chuck Bradley, who is from Kentucky, making his first start for the Toronto Argonauts.
He is at the left guard position, number 64. Flutie, quick hit to pinball Clements. He breaks 1 tackle, and he is hit at the 27-yard line, a gain of 2 or 3 on the play. Willie Pless, who else makes the stop? Willie Pless, last year, once again named most outstanding defensive player in the CFL for the 3rd time in 4 seasons. And always watch for number 40, Benny Goods, up front. He can create havoc, as the Edmonton defense has done all season long. Goods, the number 1 sack man, with 5 on the year. 2nd and 7 from the 28. Three wide receivers make it 4 on the near side. Flutie goes over the middle, complete. First down at the 50-yard line. Mike Morreale makes the reception.
This is what's going to happen if you give Doug Flutie that much time to stand in the pocket and survey the defense of Edmonton. Straight seam routes, just lobs the ball over the outstretched hands of the defender, Willie Pless there, and Morreale makes no mistake about that grab. First down, keeps the drive alive for Doug Flutie in this offense.
Gain of 24 on the play. They'll set it up at the 50-yard line. Flutie from the shotgun. Near side, Jimmy Cunningham. Cunningham breaks back towards the middle of the field, and he is into Edmonton Eskimo territory. Now, Kev's Keys, as always, here on the CFL on the Deuce. We'll check out what you want the Toronto Argonauts to do tonight.
Just like I said, take this guy, Drummond, and use him to death. Use him as a runner inside, throw to him. Then also take this defense of Edmonton, spread him out offensively, and that's exactly what Doug Flutie is doing right now. And on the defensive side of the ball, turn the heat up and get in Danny Mack's face. Force the Edmonton Eskimo quarterback to throw under pressure.
Gain of 18 yards on the reception by Cunningham. First and 10 from the 46. They go to Jimmy Cunningham. Same play again. This time he is rocked by number 10, Malcolm Frank, with help from Larry Ruck.
Good read by Doug Flutie that time. Edmonton in his zone defense. Just sets down outside to Jimmy Cunningham. Now take a look. You're going to see Malvin Hunter do it, and inside with Benny Goods doing a little twist. That's Mike Sellers, I should say. Comes up underneath him. Doug Flutie reads it quite well. And number 59, Bradley, just runs the defender. Sellers right by, gives Doug Flutie clear vision down the field.
Still a gain of 10 and another first down from the 35. Flutie under pressure. Ruck forcing him out of bounds. And they will sack Doug Flutie. Larry Ruck will be credited for the sack, as Edmonton now has 28 sacks on this CFL season, and that is number 1 in the league.
Doug Flutie wants to run the shovel pass inside the Drummond. He's going to come in, he's going to ladder it back inside, shovel it. Larry Ruck's up in his face quite quickly, but the thing that you didn't see on this picture was the reason is Benny Good tackled Drummond, so Doug Flutie had no one to pitch the ball to. So he did the right thing and the smart thing. Just eat it, get it out of bounds, then snap it. 2nd and 10 again.
Doug Flutie off to a good start, the number 1 passer in the CFL. 2nd and a long 10. Flutie will keep it himself. Lots of room. And he is very close to the first down marker. All of a sudden, 2 Edmonton defenders converged on Doug Flutie, led by Trent Brown and Darian Hagan, and he may have not gotten the first down yardage. We'll see if he gets a favorable spot, and now they are moving the chains.
He crossed. Now look in the middle. There's no Edmonton defenders there. He's run everybody off. Doug Flutie does exactly what Doug Flutie best. He just takes the ball, runs up for the first down. He knows exactly where the mark is. Takes the slide, hook slide into second base. Now tee it up again. 1st and 10.
Number 58, the right guard, is Chris Gioskos. He is playing in place of Joe Burgess, who has moved down to the practice squad. 1st and 10 from the 25. Complete to Pinball Clemens. Breaks one tackle through the arms of the would-be tackler of the Edmonton Eskimos, Darian Hagan, and turns it into a good gain on first down.
8 years in this league, and 8 years, Michael Clemens has been really not respected enough that guys don't wrap up and don't tackle him. He's only 5'6", about 170 pounds, soaking wet, a lot of strength, a lot of power, keeps his legs driving and moving, and picks up a good 7 yards there, make it about 2nd and 3.
From the 18-yard line. Opening drive of the night for the number 1 offense in the league. They finally go to the ground. Running the football, big Robert Drummond. He pulls his way close to another Toronto first down.
Robert Drummond has been the absolute key to this offense other than Doug Flutie. He gives them everything they want. Good rushing, hard, powerful game inside. He's got the great speed that he can run the ball outside. He is a pass receiver. He does it all, and it opens up everybody else for Doug Flutie and the Toronto offense.
On the last carry, a bit short of the marker. 3rd and 1. The 1-yard cushion. Will Flutie keep it himself? Goes over the right side, and the second effort should get the Argonauts another first down. That 1-yard cushion makes 3rd and short situations so much different in the CFL.
Makes it a lot tougher on the defensive guys. All the quarterback has to do is come up, take the snap, bury your head, get behind that big center, and Mike Kislak at 295, and lean forward. What happened in that case, Doug came out, showed his head a little bit, tried to slide up or down the line of scrimmage. It allowed a couple of those Edmonton defenders to get a shot at him.
From the 14-yard line, Flutie with time. Looks to Jimmy Cunningham. Inside the 10. Good open field tackle made at the 7-yard line by Kavis Reed.
Down at the bottom of your screen, here is Kavis Reed and then also Cunningham. Now take a look and look at the cushion that Reed's going to give it. It's just a little quick catch pattern. He doesn't react up quick enough to it, thinking that he has some help from Hagan, the halfback, to come from inside. They have to react up late, and it allows Cunningham to pick up 7 yards.
Jimmy Cunningham leading the CFL. All-purpose yards on 2nd down and 3. They go to the ground again, trying to set up the 1st and goal situation. And another 1st down for the Argonauts, methodically moving down the football field.
Now you take a look at Doug Flutie. The ball is snapped. This is like the gun's going off, and it's a sprinter start. He's got the right leg back, and he's starting to move and starting to go straight forward as the ball's coming up. Picks up the 1st down, 1st and goal for this very powerful and dominating so far Toronto offense.
From the 3-yard line. Double back set. Drummond, number 29 on the left side of Flutie. They give the ball to Mike Pinball Clemens, and he is brought down at just the 1-yard line by Willie Pless.
Great thing that you want to do, just a straight dive play. You would think that they would use their power back in Drummond's at 215. Not a chance. They bring in Michael Clemens, line him up in the T formation, straight head dive. That 170 almost got it into the end zone. 2nd and very short.
Now let's look for 6'3", 215-pound Robert Drummond. Or Flutie on the keeper. 2nd and goal from the 1. There's Doug Flutie. Touchdown! Opening drive impressive for the Argonauts, capped off by Doug Flutie.
Michael, as you said, a very impressive drive. Good ball control, great play selection. Orchestrated by that man right there, number 2, Doug Flutie. Now take a look at the 2nd effort. The Edmonton Eskimos close it all up. All he does is keep his feet moving, keep his shoulders spinning, works right down the line of scrimmage, falls into the end zone, breaks the plane.
On for the convert, Mike Vanderjack. Off the hold of Doug Flutie. And the Argonauts march down the football field on the opening drive to take the early lead.
It's hard-hitting. It's longer, wider, faster football. Every game is an event, a party. More importantly, it's our game, and we won't change it for anyone. The CFL, radically Canadian and proud of it. Now you, too, can be a radical Canadian by wearing radical hats, T-shirts, sweatshirts, and golf shirts, all from Starter Canada. Get Radical from only $19.99. Call 1-800-8174-CFL. These items aren't available in any store. The only way you can get Radical is to call now. Dare to be different. Get Radical. Be Canadian. The Canadian Football League is radically Canadian. Call 1-800-8174-CFL now.
U was jest nowy compact disc. No doubt ya?
Niet.
Can't find it. Get No Doubt's new release, Tragic Kingdom, for just $10.
The CFL on ESPN2 is being brought to you by Miller Lite. When you've got the great taste of an ice-cold Miller Lite, life is good. And by Best Buy, just the store you've been shopping for. A very impressive opening drive put together by Doug Flutie and the Toronto Argonauts, proving once again that they are the most lethal offense in the CFL. It seems that tag works around the league as Doug Flutie leaves. The most lethal offense last year was Calgary's, with Flutie in control. 13 plays, 85 yards, exactly 8 minutes, capped off by Flutie's 6th rushing touchdown of the year. From the 13-yard line, it is Eric Blunt. He's got a hole all the way up to the 40-yard line. Breaks a tackle, and finally a shoestring tackle made on Eric Blunt at the 52. Heck of a return for Eric Blunt. Up 39 yards. Finally hauled down by Cooper Harris.
Doug got looking too winded on the sideline, ran it a couple of plays, and this is a good thing that they had to do. He kept this Edmonton defense off balance that whole drive. Now here for Edmonton, what they have to do, take Eddie Brown. He's got to shine. He's got to go downtown. Eric Blunt has got to have a good game to open up Danny McManus play-action passes.
Eric Blunt, number 2 in yards from scrimmage. 1st and 10 for Edmonton. McManus dumps it over the middle, in and out of the hands of Shalon Baker. Been a bit of a tough start for young Shalon Baker. Eddie Brown is back in the picture now. Shalon, the touchdown maker out of Montana. Brilliant, being named the CFL's most outstanding rookie 1 season ago.
Last year came in 79 catches, 1,156 yards, 5 touchdowns, really showed his stuff. This is a guy that is sure-handed that we didn't see in that last play. And this is what he and the rest of this team has to do. You've got to concentrate just a little bit harder, a little deeper.
2nd and 10. McManus goes to Eddie Brown, and Eddie Brown is hit short of the 1st down yardage. Alex Gordon, one of the 3 blue jerseys who wrapped up Eddie Brown quite quickly. Top receiver in the CFL is Eddie Brown.
Short by about 3 yards, and this is where the Edmonton Eskimos need to sustain some drives, and they're not getting it right now. This Toronto defense is tenacious. They fly around, they mix it up, they show you different looks, and they really do a good job of creating a situation to confuse the quarterbacks. Pre-snap read, and even when he snaps the ball, of showing different defenses on the fly.
Glenn Harper averaging 40.9 per kick. Back deep is Jimmy Cunningham inside the 10-yard line. Good field position and 2 and out again for the CFL's Edmonton Eskimos. Pushing it towards the corner. And the football goes out of bounds at about the 27-yard line. A punt of just 27 yards. Toronto to go back on the offense when we return.
ESPN, the leader in sports.
Offense, very dynamic in their first drive, amassing 8 minutes of time. Will the Edmonton defense be able to adjust here? Flutie starts from the 27-yard line. And the pressure was on, applied by Mike Sellers. Sellers has been very impressive so far, in for the injured Glenn Scribner.
Mike Sellers last year was his first year with the Edmonton Eskimos. Opening play, opening kickoff of the 95 season, he ends up breaking a foot, breaking a leg. Didn't get a chance to play at all last year. But as I talked to Coach Lancaster, he said, this guy is a project. This guy is going to be a very good football player. He has all the mechanics. He just does not have the expertise that it needs right now to be a solid guy in the CFL. But he's going to get there.
2nd and 10. Flutie. And his receiver was moving away from the pass, and Toronto will be forced to punt. Going to be a chess match all night long between the offense of the Toronto Argonauts, Adam Rita, the offensive coordinator of Toronto, and the very, very, very tough defense of the Edmonton Eskimos, and Greg Newhouse, their defensive coordinator.
It really is, and then it just flows over to the guys on the field. Doug Flutie is the guy that's going to move the pieces around, and as soon as he starts moving those pieces, Larry Ruck on the defensive side of the ball for Edmonton, he's got to counter those and make some audibles. So it will be very interesting to see how that transpires through the course of this game.
Shalon Baker will receive the first punt of the night from Mike Vanderchat. Takes it at the 42-yard line. Scampers up towards midfield. And he is stopped at the 48. We'll come back. It'll be good field position again for Edmonton. In the first quarter, Mike Goldberg, Danny Kepley from Sky Dome in Toronto. Don Matthews, he knows the guys across the field real well. Defensive coordinator for 5 Grey Cups in the late 70s and the early 80s. He has lost as a head coach just 1 of his last 19 games.
And he has a great reputation that wherever he goes, he builds a winner.
1st and 10 from the 53. McManus. Oh, what a dynamic catch made on the play by Eddie Brown. That was a dangerous pass thrown towards 2 blue jerseys. Don Wilson almost had the interception, but Brown comes up with the reception.
Terrific catch inside. Just a quick slant route, but Eddie Brown knows that he's going to catch a lot of traffic in there when guys are coming from the middle. Linebacker Wilson. In comes, that's number 97, Noah Cantor in there also. He doesn't like going in the middle. Danny Mack knows he's got to use Eddie Brown, get him downtown, get him up the field or out, where he feels more comfortable.
Our first flags of the night. This quarter has moved right along.
End-to-end hockey, no whistles, huh?
You got that right.
Offside. Toronto number 38. Still second down.
First two drives after good field position. Edmonton has come away empty.
Look at right in the middle of your screen. That's Reggie Gibbons in the front. He's going to come on a blitz, and everybody's trying to move. The defensive lineman wants to get up the line quite quickly. Noah Cannon, number 97, makes the move, gets caught in the zone. Quick whistle.
2nd and 2 from the 49. Blunt with the second effort. Going to be close to the first down. Eric Blunt, the ball carrier, met by Don Wilson, number 20. Wilson, the number 2 tackler on the Argos defense. And Eric Blunt, he has been a good story so far, averaging almost 5 yards per carry.
Number 3 in the CFL rushing coming into this ball game. Great story with him last year. Came in and really inspired this Edmonton Eskimo offense, particularly the rushing game. Was 5th in the CFL with all-purpose yards, and he only played 9 games.
Averaging 80 rushing yards per game since, as you mentioned, becoming a starter. First down is gained for Edmonton. They're first to the contest. They'll work it from the 47 up Toronto. McManus over the middle. His receiver was dumped down. Darren Flutie was hit in the middle of the football field by one of the defensive backs, and the pass will go incomplete. In the Western Division, which now contains 2 very powerful teams in Calgary and Edmonton, with a win tonight, the Eskimos can equal Calgary's win total and earn the 10 points in the standings. BC off to a very, very tough start. 5-1 record of Calgary's, matched by the Argonauts in the East.
The 2 losses for Edmonton have come at the hands of Saskatchewan and Winnipeg.
2nd and 10 for McManus. Same route, same result. No, this time it's Eddie Brown working inside the 5, hauled down at the 1-yard line. A gain of 46 yards on the reception by Eddie Brown.
Danny Mack with that quick 3-step drop and a release by Eddie Brown coming off the line. They see something in that Toronto middle that they want to take advantage of. That's where they've been throwing the ball. And Eddie Brown made no mistake. Once he caught the ball going up the field, shifting it into high gear and getting it down to the 1-yard line for Danny McManus and this big offensive line of the Edmonton Eskimos.
Edmonton coming off a sweep of a home-and-home series against the Ottawa Rough Riders, and in those 2 games, Eddie Brown had 274 yards worth of reception.
And I think with that catch right there, Mike, that put him over the 5,000-yard career mark.
First and goal. Edmonton, touchdown. Big number 39, the ball carrier. Willie Pless defensively comes in and runs the football in for the Edmonton touchdown.
Now, this just goes to show you the versatility of a guy like Willie Pless. Not only can he play the linebacker as good as anybody in this league, and he's only done it that way for the last 2 years, being named the best defensive player in this league, but they bring him in on short yardage situations. He's caught touchdown passes. Now he shows that he can run touchdowns in.
Most outstanding defensive player in 92, 94, and 95 has the touchdown. Sean Fleming back from Redskins camp, where things did not work out well, but Edmonton welcomes him back, and he converts on the convert, and we are tied at 7. So McManus and the Eskimos get the offense going. We're in for a good one tonight.
He ain't got a line coming down hard.
Last drive, the 46-yard reception by Eddie Brown down to the 1-yard line, and Toronto will start in the arms of Jimmy Cunningham. Cunningham takes the near side route and is pushed out of bounds at the 13. A return of about 15 yards on the play. Willie Pless got the touchdown. The Edmonton scoring drive, 6 plays, 57 yards, took just under 3 minutes.
Just the kind of drive that this Edmonton offense needed to keep their spirits into this game. As well and as easy as Toronto and Doug Flutie moved the ball against their defense in for that major score, it was time to stand up and get back at them. And they did that between Danny Mac and Eddie Brown.
Eddie Brown, last year, started the year in Memphis, then was reacquired by the Eskimos, played just 3 games in Edmonton. Flutie offensively. Oh, the short pass almost intercepted on the play by Malcolm Frank. It will go incomplete. The intended receiver was Paul Mazzotti.
Errol Martin comes from the outside, just to the right of your screen. Doug Flutie sees him coming very quickly, wants to dump the ball off. Frank makes a great break on the ball and almost comes up with the pick.
2nd and 10 from the 29. Larry Ruck showing blitz right in the face of Flutie. Complete to Robert Drummond. A gain of about 5 yards on the play, and it will be another punting situation for the Argonauts.
That has to be a big miscue up front with the offensive center, Kislak, and maybe the newcomer, Chuck Bradley, on the left guard. Larry Ruck comes straight up the middle all by himself, gets right in Doug Flutie's face. Fortunately for Doug, he's got that great athletic ability and that great vision. He was able to see Drummond just sneaking over the middle, able to dump it off.
Shalon Baker, number 5, one of the 2 men deep for Edmonton. High kick. Darian Hagan will turn into a blocker. Baker will field it at the 25. Avoids a would-be tackler still on his feet, scampering towards the outside and hit at the 30. Just a 5-yard return for Shalon Baker, hit by Greg Eglin. There's a guy who's been in your position for about a decade as a broadcaster, Ron Lancaster. Tonight, with a victory, he can move into a tie for 2nd place all-time on the Edmonton coaching mark.
He really can. He can move ahead. Right now, he can tie up with Coach Ray Yock. Ray Yock was the coach that brought me in to the CFL in 1975. Great broadcaster. That's how I happened to get into this business. When he left broadcasting with CBC, he went in there, came as the head coach. I was able to get a chance to do a little bit of work.
A little Edmonton connection going there.
Yeah, and then I get to work with guys like you.
Oh, almost intercepted. McManus totally misread what his receiver on the near side Mazzoli was going to do, and that is the knock on Danny McManus, that he has thrown too many interceptions in his career, and there is certainly numbers to back that up.
11 already this season to his ratio of 8. But Danny just doesn't look. He doesn't see the defender and read it quite quickly enough. All he does is step up, 3-step drop, turns opposite, and then throws it out there. The receiver read something different and broke the pattern off. Could have been 6 going the other way.
2nd and 10 from the 31. McManus this time to Eddie Brown. And he is hit immediately on the play by Donald Smith.
A couple of change-ups in the back end of the Toronto defense. Ed Berry was out with an ankle injury. Don Smith moves over to the left cornerback. Now he just sits back there. He's going to wait. He's going to force McManus to throw that ball short up in front of him and then use that great speed to react up on the ball, make the tackle, and force Edmonton into a punting situation.
3rd punt of the night for Glenn Harper. Good punt. Taken at the 27-yard line by Jimmy Cunningham. And Cunningham is hit behind where he initially fielded the ball at the 25 by Bruce Vixen. Booming punt by Glenn Harper. Toronto back on offense. For Don Matthews and the Toronto Argonauts. Won 10 straight games last year to end the regular season as the head coach of the Baltimore Stallions. Then the 2 playoff games, then the Grey Cup, and off to a 5-1 start, which has people here at the Sky Dome wearing very funny-looking hats.
I tell you what, they'll wear anything if it'll cause the Toronto Argonauts to win a football game. And whatever's happening and whatever it is working.
Flutie going deep. He has his receiver. Big reception for Paul Mazzotti. Malcolm Frank said Mazzotti was pushing off. The officials will hear nothing of that. 40-yard reception by Paul Mazzotti.
Paul Mazzani comes in, 32 catches this season. Straight seam route, just right up the field. Outruns Malcolm Frank, gives him a little juke right at the line of scrimmage, and is able to make it up with one step ahead of Frank. Mazzani, great solid concentration and good hands. He is a primary guy for Doug Flutie to go to.
41 straight games with a reception for Mazzani. From the 46, Flutie goes the other way towards Jimmy Cunningham. He is wrapped up immediately by Tavis Reed. Gain of 3 on the play.
This is where Doug Flutie is just a master. He works the defense. He stretches you out. He puts it out to one side to the outside. Then he throws it all the way across the field to the other side of the numbers. Then he makes this defense stretch out. Then he, next thing you know, he goes on that quarterback draw, or he throws it right up the seams in their place of vulnerability.
Second and 7. Flutie with the shovel pass. Cunningham was rocked by Willie Pless and Darian Hagan. A loss of 3 on the play. Edmonton read that play beautifully.
Willie Pless stands back there at that middle linebacker position, and he can see that Cunningham comes underneath for a reason, and then all he does is just follow, and he uses that great pursuit speed inside out, and he makes no mistake. He is the second leading tackler in the CFL this year.
No surprise, he led the league last year with 100 tackles on the season. He was one behind the leaders entering the weekend. So a punting situation. Vanderchat tries to funnel it inside the 10-yard line. Takes a good bounce, hits the backside of a Toronto player, and you should note that will result in a different situation than there would be if that play happened in the NFL. We'll explain that to you when we return to the Sky Dome in Toronto. You're watching the CFL on ESPN2.
For the Toronto Argonauts, what's going to happen? You're going to get the penalty, and it's called a no-yards penalty. The ball hits the ground, then it hits the back of Marcellus Simmons, and what that is called is no yard. The coverage team has to give the receiving kicker 5-yard cushion area for him to do it. If the ball makes contact on a coverage guy, it is a 15-yard penalty from that spot. Simmons was caught for just not being able to pick the ball up in the air.
Of course, in the NFL, the football would have been downed inside the 10-yard line. Instead, Edmonton starts at the 24. They give it to Eric Blunt, and he is smothered quite quickly by Alex Gordon. Gain of 4 yards on the carry for Eric Blunt.
Eric Blunt, in his 3rd year with the Edmonton Eskimos out of the University of North Carolina, 5'9", 195 pounds. Very powerful in the lower body, great leg strength.
Last year, 5th in rushing in the CFL. With 2,038 all-purpose yards, despite playing just the 9 games, as you mentioned.
Had one game against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, where they won 64-10, scored 5 touchdowns. 3 by pass, 1 by 3 by rush, 1 by a pass, and 1 by a punt return. This guy does it all.
Danny McManus, member of the Florida State Seminole Hall of Fame. Works at 2nd and 7 from the 27-yard line. Short drop. McManus goes to the far side. Has Eddie Brown. Now Eddie Brown has room, and the first down. $20-yard gain on the reception.
On the outside, Eddie Brown, one-on-one against Adrian Smith. Now watch this. Just a little hit drop. There's nothing really complicated to it. But when Adrian Smith comes up, loses his balance, goes to the outside, does not keep his feet up underneath him, allows Eddie Brown to make a little juke inside, then he gets outside and picks up a big first down.
McManus again, looking Brown. Now he comes back the other way. Mazzoli. Starting the pursuit was Donald Smith, number 19. It will be a gain of just 3 yards on the reception by Nick Mazzoli, number 80.
Tim Cofield is a guy that gives you a lot of pressure all the time. But the guy that stood up in front of him, that's Eric Blunt, that stands up, takes the big guy down, and gives Danny Mack just enough time to complete that pass.
Donald Smith, after applying the hit, still down on the ground. Had a big game last week against Montreal, recovering a fumble and having an interception against the Alouettes. Take a look at the play again.
Funnels Mazzoli back inside, and it looks like his own man comes across. That's number 26. Courtney Griffin gets a shot. Could be in the rib area and the leg area of Smith. Trainers are still taking a good look at him.
Donald Smith out of Halifax, Nova Scotia. Played collegiately here in Canada at Western Ontario. The backfield has suffered some injuries already for these Argonauts. They can ill afford any more.
Ed Berry was the guy, as I mentioned earlier, that went out with a ankle injury, and it had to move around all the guys in the back end. The only guy that stayed solid was Dan Murphy at the safety position.
Also, Don Odegaard has a bruised bone, and he is also out of commission for tonight. We continue our coverage of the CFL on the Deuce. Saturday, August 24th. We'll once again check out these Argonauts against the Ottawa Rough Riders and David Archer. We'll look forward to that game. CFL Primetime coming your way Saturday, August 24th from Frank Clair Stadium in the nation's capital here in Canada.
Now, wait a second. That's right next to that hockey arena you go to all the time.
That's
like
right.
You know that.
Where they used to play before they started shoving lots of fans into the beautiful Palladium.
And they got that big, nice stadium now. It's amazing. Isn't progress wonderful?
It certainly is. It certainly is. And it is Frank Clair Stadium. Movement on the line, going to be offsides on Toronto. They work it outside to Eric Blunt, and he is pushed out of bounds just short of the first down marker. Let's see if they were drawn offsides. Greg Eglin forcing the receiver of the football, Eric Blunt, out of bounds on that last play.
The pattern that has gone for defense these days is that you take an oversized defensive back, as in Greg Eglin, and you bring him up to play the outside linebacker.
Toronto, number 51. Second down, repeat it.
We welcome you to Sky Dome here in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Mike Goldberg, Danny Kepley, watching a good football game thus far. Edmonton, Willie Pless, the defensive standout with the 1-yard touchdown run after a key reception by Eddie Brown, and Doug Flutie, the quarterback keeper, resulting in Toronto's major. 2nd and 1 from the 54 for the Eskimos. And they pull their way up ahead for the first down. Tim Cofield makes the stop for Toronto. Jerry Collins, the ball carrier. Collins, you may recall, out of Penn State. There is a flag on the football field. Procedure, the initial indication against the Eskimos.
Those are the kind of things you can't have when you got a chance to keep the job going. 2nd and short, and then you make a mental mistake and you get an illegal procedure. Make it 2nd and 6 now for the Edmonton Eskimos. Ron Lancaster is taking quite a bit of pressure about that, and he's going to let somebody know it out there on the field.
2nd and 6. Flag again. McManus complete to Mazzoli for the first down yardage. Hit on the play by Adrian Smith. We will await to see what the call on the football field is.
Offsides against the Toronto Argonauts, so they get the 5 yards back.
Number 96, decline. First down, Edmonton.
Alex Gordon out of the University of Cincinnati. So behind Rob Conant, the longtime CFL veteran, it'll be 1st and 10 from the 45. McManus works it down deep. Wide open is Darren Flutie, and he cannot make the reception. Interesting offensive setup there, where the two running backs, Blunt and Collins, acted as blockers next to each other on the left side of Danny McManus, and Flutie sprung himself open, but was unable to make the catch.
What they do, they call this kind of offense red and blue. Red is to the right, Blue is to the left where the backs are going to double waggle. Both of them, neither one of them made a very good block against Cofield. Cofield still forced McManus to throw the ball right before he wanted to, or else he'd had a chance to get the ball back there. Flutie had gotten way behind Courtney Griffin.
2nd and 10 from the 45. They throw it to the outside. Shalon Baker will be short of the first down. Marcelo Simmons, along with Greg Eaglin, makes the stop.
Now line this up for the hitch screen. Right there's number 12. That's Adrian Smith. He's going to come up, and he's going to react quickly to the hitch. He sees the guy, make a play. But what you got to do, you stay outside just like he did. You force the receiver to go back inside to where the pursuit is going to take care of it. And once he got there, Donald Smith came over to help him out also. Great play by the corner.
So Glenn Harper will be forced to punt again. Jimmy Cunningham standing at the 2-yard line. Cunningham will not play the football as it is a brilliant punt going out at the 1-yard line. Great kick of 39 yards down at the 1 by Harper.
I'm Jim McKay with another.
Ron Lancaster, he has an argument on the sideline. I think they're having some communication problems with their headsets, and they say that they're completely out. Now, if that happens to be the case, over on the Toronto side, they have to give up an equal number of headsets. So if there's 2 on the Edmonton side, 2 have to come off in Toronto until they get the communication fixed.
Ron Lancaster, you saw reacting quite vehemently a moment ago to the penalty against the Edmonton Eskimos, but he may have a bigger concern, as kept mentioned. Gain of 4 on the carry by Robert Drummond will set up a 2nd and 6 from the Argonaut 5-yard line. Here's 2 of the best in the game right now. Don Matthews, Ron Lancaster, and the best so far in the CFL. Total yards from scrimmage, Robert Drummond. Play action. Flutie, the pass was deflected, and there is a late flag on the play. It will go incomplete, but we will await the call.
Going to have holding against Toronto. The Edmonton Eskimos will decline that, force Toronto to kick it deep from their own end and get great field position.
Legal block to the head, number 62, decline. 3rd down, Toronto.
Just to the right of your screen, the ball gets tipped at the line of scrimmage. We can't see the block that was called illegal. Trent Brown, the safety, almost makes a good play on the ball. The tip drill doesn't fall. Forces Toronto to have to kick.
Set up at the 46-yard line is Shalon Baker. He backs up to the 48 of Toronto. Baker on the run. Inside the 40. Now the 35. Still on his feet. Back to the 9-yard line. What a return for Shalon Baker. 39-yard return inside the 10-yard line. Finally brought down by Norm Casola.
This is the kind of enthusiasm that the Edmonton Eskimos have when they get a guy like Baker in the back end. He's replacing a guy by the name of Henry Gizmo Williams, the most prolific punt returner in this league. But everybody on that team knows that if I get my block, I do my job, I got a chance to spring this guy into the end zone. Baker almost takes it there, sets it up on the 9, 1st and 10.
The most outstanding rookie in the year in the league 1 year ago. 1st and goal from the 9. McManus rolls left, looks end zone, touchdown! Eddie Brown with the major. And Edmonton takes the lead. He beat Marcelo Simmons to the corner of the end zone, and the defense sets up the offense this time for the quick score.
Danny Mac does a great job that time with the play action pass. He's going to fake the ball inside, comes out, he buys a lot of time, and when you can see this, just take a look. Fakes it inside to Blunt. Everybody reacts and thinks he has it. Danny Mac's not noted for scrambling. Now he comes down, and it's just the out pattern to Eddie Brown at the corner. Eddie has Marcellus Simmons fooled. Perfect pass, perfect route by Eddie Brown. Gives Edmonton Eskimos the lead.
Fleming with the major. On the convert, now makes it 14-7. Edmonton with the lead, 4:43 remaining.
Shalon Baker on the outside. Just a little inside route. He's just going to take and see if he can cover up the defender. Eddie Brown's at the top of your screen. Little push-off with the left hand. Creates a little bit of distance between he and Simmons. A little cushion. And Danny McManus makes no mistake about rifling that ball in there for the major.
Little short midget. How y'all doing? What's up, Bubba? What's up, Ronnie? Tim Giselle Samir. What's up, everybody? Bringing this one back home.
Third touchdown reception of the year for Eddie Brown. On the 93 Cup is a member of the Eskimos out of Iowa State. Topeka, Kansas.
Came into this league leading the CFL in yardage with 530. 21 yards an average catch for Eddie Brown. Pretty impressive.
Credit that major to the defensive efforts of Edmonton. Results in the punt from the end zone. Turns into a great return by Shalon Baker. And the major score. Cunningham at the 9. Hit at the 26-yard line. 78-yard kick and an 18-yard return. Maurice Miller made the stop. This one play took 5 seconds for Eddie Brown to make it 14-7.
Set up by the great return by Shalon Baker on the punt.
So we were wondering what would happen when the top defense met the top offense in the CFL tonight. First drive, Flutie marched the ball right down to the gut of the Edmonton Eskimos and scored the major. Since then, they have not generated hardly any offensive ball. And that has seemed to be the trend more often. And they are not getting the sacks right now, but they are getting some pressure and forcing Doug Flutie to have to hurry a bit.
Good push up the middle that time by Mike Sellers and Benny Goods. Got in the face of Doug Flutie, forced him to try to take and throw the ball inside. Doesn't give him great vision down the field, and he throws it short of his intended receiver.
Approaching 4 minutes remaining in the first half. 2nd and 10. Flutie again through the arms and legs of Mike Clemens. Another punting situation.
A lot of pressure up front. Middle linebacker Larry Ruck comes on the blitz. Malvin Hunter, the defensive end, wraps all the way around on the inside. Take a look. Larry Ruck's on the inside. Now watch Malvin Hunter come and make the move. His job, pull the center, pull him to his left, and allow that defensive end to come around and get up in the face of Doug Flutie. It worked well.
So Vanderchat put the ball in the hands of the dangerous Shalon Baker again. A booming kick, forcing Baker back to the 39-yard line. Shalon Baker hit at the 45. A flag on the football field. Was hit there by number 35, Brendan Rogers. A return of just 6 yards after a 40-yard punt.
Let's back it up. I think we're going to get holding number 10, Malcolm Franks, on the return. Brendan Rogers is one of those guys. He's been with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers for a lot of years. Was trying to sign as a free agent with the BC Lions. Did not make it out there, decided to leave, and Coach Don Matthews knew that the key to this part of this game, 30% of it's their special teams, and this guy right there is as good as they get in the league. He knew that he could use him, and Brendan Rogers just showed why.
From the 33, McManus with the pitch to Blunt. Blunt, behind some blockers, will gain 2, maybe 3 yards on the play. Stopped by Alex Gordon.
Take a look at that shift that's going down the line of scrimmage. As soon as it is, it's an I formation. The toss play happens. Everybody just react to the ball and stay in your lanes. The Toronto defense does an excellent job of being disciplined on the toss.
Number 96, Alex Gordon, his 2nd year in the league. First is a member of the Argonauts. 3-minute warning has reached us here at Skydome. It's 14-7.
Every team has a marquee player, and we want to let you know here on the Deuce, we are not short of that too, even though we cut the budgets. But sometimes we have guys like Mike Goldberg, our play-by-play guy. That is one of the theme suites here at the Sky Dome that overlook the playing field that you watch. I don't know, they must cost like $1,000 or $2,000 a night, but that's where that man is sleeping for the next 2 days.
Well, I'll tell you, you walk to the front desk, Kep, and you go, "Hi, Dan Kepley, CFL Hall of Famer," and they gave me that room.
I don't know how you got that suite. You know people in high places, big guy. Danny McManus standing in the pocket, having to scramble right at the last minute. That's number 37, Ken Benson, the middle linebacker, reacts well to the pass thrown.
1-1.
I still can't get over that. I mean, that to me costs a lot.
It does.
And it's a theme suite. What happens to be your theme in that suite?
Life is good, football is better. Jimmy Cunningham from the 27. Wheeling back now, turning on the juice. Cunningham has some field to work with. Gets a great block into Edmonton territory. Hit at the 45. 43-yard return for Jimmy Cunningham. Finally hit by Jerry Collins.
Just like I told you before for the Edmonton Eskimos, Toronto has their same guy, Jimmy Cunningham. Now watch to the right of your screen here right at the last minute. Boom! There's a block by Greg Eaglin that springs Cunningham around to the outside, and then it is nothing but foot speed that gets him down the field. This is the guy last year that had punt return touchdowns of 97, 100, and 108 yards, which happens to be the third longest in Toronto history.
From the 45, first and 10, Flutie on his own. Runs it for 7 yards. It will bring up a 2nd and 3. Lots of time remaining. 2:13 on the clock. Larry Ruck with the stop.
Just to let you know, the last 3 minutes of the half and the game, the clock stops after every play. They're able to reset it. Then the clock starts once they get everybody on side. So in the last 3 minutes, a lot of plays can be made and a lot of yardage on that field can be made up.
2nd and 3. They give the football to Pinball Clemens. First down, Toronto. Wrapped up on the play by Singor Mobley. Gain of 6 on the carry for Mike Clemens.
Straight dive. Now just watch the quick feet. He's moving. He's called a pinball for a reason. Once he gets into the hole, he bounces off people, keeps those legs pumping, and he picks up extra yards for you every time he touches the ball.
First down from the 33 of the Eskimos. Play action. Flutie spinning, dumps it off. Robert Drummond with a blocker in front of him. Touchback through the middle of the football field. Touchdown! What a great block applied, which opened a spot for Robert Drummond to scamper 33 yards for the score.
This guy does it all. Watch the right tackle right now. Fitz Stevenson is going to come out. He's going to get a block on the outside linebacker, Willie Press. It's a screen route. They're going to throw it deep. No, he's just going to dump it off. There's the block as it comes all the way back across, and then nothing but Robert Drummond using that incredible speed to get it in the end zone and outrace the Edmonton defenders.
Vanderjet with the convert, and we are tied. 33-yard touchdown run by Robert Drummond.
Robert Drummond out of Syracuse. Tremendous athlete, and Doug Flutie knows exactly how to utilize him to the best advantage of this offense. Vic Stevenson, the big 35-year-old guy, playing that right tackle position, makes the key block, drives Willie Press out, and then nothing happens other than Drummond cuts back across the grain and turns it into high gear.
Big Vic Stevenson, 15th year in the league. Last year he played with the BC Lions, opposing Doug Flutie and Calgary on frequent occasion. Robert Drummond was with the Baltimore Stallions. 3 guys from different areas 1 year ago come together to cap off the 3-play, 45-yard scoring drive.
Don Matthews, the head coach of Baltimore last year, had this guy and another guy by by the name of Mike Pringle, who just happened to be the MVP in the league last year from the South. And he said that Drummond was the best kept secret in the CFL. He's not anymore.
Jerry Collins mishandled the kick. It's a return of 25 yards up to near the 30-yard line. Danny McManus will come on with 1 minute and 21 seconds to work. We'll watch Doug Flutie, though, and David Archer duel it off in our next CFL telecast. Coming your way Saturday, August 24th, CFL prime time from Ottawa, the nation's capital here in the CFL, as the Argos and the Rough Riders do battle.
Well, Mike, as far as chess match goes, we've got a good one here tonight.
McManus over the middle, complete. Wrapped up after the reception. Darren Flutie hit from behind by Marcelo Simmons. Gain of 13 yards and a first down. First reception of the night for Darren Flutie.
Second time he's been thrown at. This one he catches. The first one he was knocked down by the linebacker, Greg Eaglin. Didn't get a chance to make a play on the ball. But this is a guy they need to work at inside. It'll open up the field even more for guys like Eddie Brown and Mazzoli.
From the 45, they go to the outside, and there he is again. Eddie Brown, another 13-yard gain, forced out of bounds by Adrian Smith.
Danny McManus showing one thing that he really still possesses a lot of. Arm strength, being able to throw the wide side out with some zip on it.
See Eddie Brown's eyes in that close-up? He's checking out the Jumbotron, see what his reception looks like.
They always want to see if they do the right thing and how good they look on the camera, baby.
The hand up, Derek Blunt, right up the middle, behind some blockers. Another gain of about 13 yards, maybe 14. Ken Benson made the stop, along with Don Wilson. 50 seconds remains on the clock.
Now the clock is stopped just at this moment. Edmonton gets a chance to huddle. It's blown back in. They only lose a few seconds. I'm not sure why Danny Mac's not doing a hurry-up offense at the line of scrimmage.
Now he works it from the 38. McManus overthrows his intended receiver, Eddie Brown.
Lots of pressure up front by Andrew Stewart, the big 6'5", 270-pound defensive lineman out of Cincinnati. Take a look. Mac can't see him coming. His eyes are away. He's looking to steam away. And Andrew Stewart makes no mistake about planting that helmet right on the chin of Danny Mac. "31 seconds remains in the first half. They give it to Blunt again. And he scampers his way close to the first down. May have come up a yard or two short. Stumbled a bit about the 32-yard line and fell forward, but he will be about a half a yard short. Looks like they're sending in what they call their elephant offense. That's the big guys. They take out some of these smaller receivers. Mazzoli comes out, Flutie comes out, Blunt comes out, and they send in guys like Willie Pless, Maurice Miller, Malvin Hunter. Get a little weight in that offensive line and in the backfield.
Great point. 4 defensive players come in this short yardage situation. 3rd and 2 with the clock moving. There's Big Willie Pless. First down, Edmonton. Where else can you watch the most outstanding defensive player in any football league, 3 of the last 4 years, run the football on frequent occasion?
All right, now look, I don't want to pout about this at all, okay? But I never got to run. They didn't put these plays in back in the days when I played middle linebacker. Now, do you think there was a real reason for this, Mike?
Well, the reason was they were attending to working on the leather helmets back then and making sure that they were all okay and not dried out.
Willie Pless makes no mistake. This is the Canadian version of the fridge, baby. Give it to him. He only weighs about 210, 215, soaking wet if he does, but he gets the job done for the Edmonton Eskimos.
He had the touchdown in the first quarter, a 1-yard run after the drive, keyed by the 46-yard reception by Eddie Brown to make it 7-7. And Eddie Brown and Robert Drummond have scored respectively for Edmonton and the Toronto Argonauts here in the second half. 17 seconds left in the half. McManus slipped. In fact, safety lost his shoe and throws the interception. Football intercepted by Ken Benson. And that's just unfortunate for Danny McManus, who lost his footing as the right shoe came off, and he did not throw the football in the fashion that he would have liked to.
But as he steps back, take a look. He's going to try to force this ball in. He throws it, but he's throwing it into double coverage. He threw the ball, and he shouldn't have thrown it at all. That was the pass. Maybe you can use the shoe as an excuse, but I just used it as a point that he made a really bad read and a bad throw.
12th interception of the season already for Danny McManus. He entered the year in his CFL career with 66 interceptions to just 53 touchdowns.
Now take a look as Danny Mac's going to come back. He's going to step, and he's going to throw, and that heel comes out of the shoe. Those are high-top shoes, too. I don't know if somebody forgot to teach him how to tie the shoes on this one, but he is out of it and throws the interception.
And then Toronto just works the clock. They're happy that McManus and the Eskimos could not capitalize on the final drive of the first half. Entertaining first 30 minutes here in our CFL presentation.
When it comes to football, there's only one way to play it. The right way. Our way. Radically Canadian. The Canadian Football League. It's our game. It's longer, wider, faster, and more exciting. Every game is an event, a party. Canadian football has been a tradition for over 105 years, and it's still kicking. The CFL. Now you too can be a radical Canadian by wearing radical hats, t-shirts, sweatshirts, and golf shirts, all from Starter Canada. Get radical from only $19.99. Call 1-800-8174-CFL. These items are not available in any store. The only way you can get radical is to call now. Dare to be different. Get radical. Be Canadian. The Canadian Football League is radically Canadian. Call 1-800-8174-CFL now.
Welcome to Burgerama.
From the Sky Dome in Toronto, we are at the half, tied at 14. Mike Goldberg along with Danny Kepley. You know, you've got the #1 offense in the league, Toronto. #1 defense in the league, Edmonton. Something has to give. And really, two big special teams plays were as much a difference as anything else in the first half.
Shalom Baker with a punt return.